What is up, Team Happy and Fit? Thanks for joining. If I sound like this, allergies. It's going to rain here soon, which we need all the pollen to go away. It hit me again, which is fine. I am so excited to meet with you. First of all, I love you. Second of all, I literally just share my best practices of what I've learned throughout the week. And Eric even asked me, he said, Julianne, what are you going to share tonight? And I just started going over, like, these are the things that I've learned this week. And I just feel like sometimes those are the best lessons, right? Things that you hear, read, and experience are the most relatable. And so there might be some things that you've heard me say already this week, but I think repetition in this is everything. It's like when I'm doing lift 4 now and our arms are so sore after day 2. And do you guys remember the first time doing that program, you couldn't extend your arms? Like, it's like you just like walked around like this. It's like, forget grocery shopping. Like, you just can't do it because like holding the basket. It's so bizarre because we just finished Hammer and Chisel, which is a lifting program. And then when you go from one lifting program to another, I'm still sore. Like, I'm sore in a different way. And so those reps, right? Those reps help our body. And so when I repeat myself, I just feel like this business is so simple and we overcomplicate it so incredibly much, like way too much. It is a simple business. And I want to get into that in a second. I had a ton of one-on-ones with a lot of you this last week. It was amazing. I loved it. I'm going to open up another week in June, and I really hope that you sign up for it. It was chill. It was 15 minutes, and it was just different for each person, and I just felt really connected to all of Happy and Fit, and I just got really excited. There were a lot of coaches on there that they were like, I see more for me in this. And I just heard Julie Boris say this. She said, people, like, you make overwhelm a thing. Everyone's busy, but for some reason you're thinking this can work for everybody else but not you. Take that in for a second. Like, what is happening in your life right now? It's kind of like me being like, my kid is jammed up in my side. Like, I'm the only person that's ever experienced that. Like, every mom who has been pregnant up to this stage can say, like, yep, been there, right? So whatever you're going on and through in life right now, like, it doesn't exclude you. Like, it's not like unique. Yes, it's significant, but it doesn't exclude you from what you could do with this thing. And I think, honestly, so many times coaches put blame on their circumstances and give themselves excuses to not build this because where can I fit it in? It's a lot easier to say I'm overwhelmed and busy. I have a kid. I have this. Work is going on. Teaching is crazy, like all this stuff where it's like, don't even give me the teaching thing because I built this as a full-time teacher, right? But I think it's just based on our mindset around it. But using that to our advantage. So a couple of things to go along with that is it clear that you're running a business? Are you running accountability? Or are you running a business? Let that sink in. Are you running accountability, which is fine if that is what you want to do, but I think it's a lot easier to talk the talk and say you want to go diamond, 1-star, 2-star, whatever star, make a certain income, $1,000 a week, a month, whatever. I think it's a lot easier to talk that. But if you're not walking the fact that you own a business, it's not going to happen. Someone wrote in the Coach Collab today, I'm sick and tired of staying still where I'm at. I need to just take action, and this is what I'm going to do. And my response to that was, the only way to build this is to take action. The only way to build this is to take action, so you're on your way. Like, that's exactly right. I think it was Morgan Schaefer who just posted, I have a ton of people I'm friends with that I've never talked to or invited. What's the point of having them on that list if I'm not going to do something about it? What does she have to lose? Here's another thing. You're not excluded from rejection or ghosting or someone saying no. Every single coach has experienced that. So your fear with that is only a fear that you've perpetuated. Oh, help me, dear friends in Jesus today. How do you say that word? You know what I'm saying, right? It's just not going to come out because I have it. And it's cool. I was getting all sentimental and serious. It's fine. It's like, whatever. It's just, you're just going to go with it. But think about that. Like, you perpetuated. Thank you. I got it. Thank you, Kim. I love you. You're just such a good teacher. Thank you, because that was going to bother me. But why do you think, like, you stopping that? I always think of, like, my dream. So, okay, your finances are great. Like, you are good. You don't need this for finances. Julie Borst would say, yes, you do, and you're a liar. Even if everything is paid off, she said, I can pay for all 3 of my girls' college tuition in full. Guess what? 2 of them go to a private university. Because of Beachbody, she said, she got to save that in full. What would that do for your life? I think we think so temporarily right now, right? She said, like, I don't have to tell my kids no to the things and experiences. And you're going to hear me repeat that on blast because I need that reminder myself. Why? I can get lazy and I can get in my head. And the way that I can take action is I have to evaluate. What is a bigger deal to me in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now? A no, rejection, a possible hater. Didn't someone just post, a former coach post on my thing about, like, look at all these comments. I was like, is that really what you're doing with your time right now? You're going to read these negative comments about me on a newspaper thing that, by the way, they weren't really that negative, but it was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, why? Like, spend our time building a dream. Spend our time, like, helping people. Spend our time going somewhere, right? That might have been a little bit too blunt and bold, but that's how I feel about it. I just don't think we should be spending our time so focused on inaction, so focused on rejection, so focused on ... We're so afraid to give this coaching opportunity, so we settle for the accountability part. It's easier in your head. It's easier to do that because that feels better. But you want to know something that pushes you to the next level is doing the uncomfortable thing. And a lot of my one-on-ones where it's like, Julianne, like, what do I say to someone? I think I'm word vomiting. You just get better at it. You just get it and you get it done. So here's something I wanted you to reflect about and think about. I'm coming at you tonight, so you get ready. And y'all better not be popping off because I'm getting all blunt and bold with you. And if you're not ready to hear it, maybe you should pop off and then see you later. But I'm serious. I've got to get in your head because you're too great. If you really want this, like, it's one thing, but I don't know why you wouldn't. I guess that's just kind of how I feel about it. And maybe that's just because I love this so much. But, like, it doesn't, when I say want it, that doesn't mean 10 hours a day. When I say want it, it's not a time frame. It's not a part of your day. It's an experience and a lifestyle. That's what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't you want that kind of lifestyle to where you make impact, make income that's growing, not stagnant? Because we can get really complacent. There was a coach who pretty much was just like, I don't think she realized she did this, but she was just like, hey, like, thanks for, like, being cool with where I am right now. Like, that's what she said, right? And I'm thinking, girl, don't put this in my court. I'm not cool in this. Like, in fact, it's not really about me. It's about you. But you're trying to think that I think it's like I'm cool with you not doing it, but you're making yourself cool with it because you don't want to live with the fact that maybe you're not taking responsibility, right? And to each their own. If you don't want to do this, that's fine, but don't put that on me, right? So as we're thinking about this, I was going somewhere with it. Oh, I got it. Don't worry. It's back. We're here. It's done. I've got you. I'm about to lay it down. Let's go. So when someone asks you, what is it that you do? I'm hearing, is this the case for some of you? It's the case for me. Someone says, like, oh, like, you invite them. That's actually not that hard. And you're like, yeah, it's when they ask what you do, or can I have more information, where you're like, what do I do? And I think this is the issue. You ready for this? It's going to be so freaking mind-blowing. Are you giving yourself enough time to really reflect on what it is that you do? Instead, you're freezing, you're overcompensating, you're over-communicating, you're dragging it. So you throw a question out there, and then the conversation goes nowhere, because when they're ready for more information, they're not trying to get another question from you. When they want more information, they want the facts. So have you given yourself time to really reflect what it is that you do? And I was thinking about this. I've simplified it for you. I've posted it everywhere. Someone asked for the webinar, and I'm like, girl, if you look in the page, it's in there. It's in there 500 times, and I'm going to direct you to it. Is this: Julianne, what do you do? I walk the walk with self-care. Is that true? I walk the walk with self-care. I walk the walk with fitness and nutrition. Whatever words you want to use in there. I walk the walk, right? I walk the walk with self-care. I document it, or I track it, or I share it on social media with a group of people. Or you can just say I document it on social media. I track it on social media. And I help others alongside me do the same. That is coaching. That is coaching in a nutshell. What do? I walk the walk. I document it, and I help others join alongside me. Would it be okay if I gave you more information? What is so freaking scary about that? Someone asked to get the recording of that webinar that Trina did last week that I've been posting everywhere. Let that be your invite. Let that be the thing that seals the deal, closes the deal for you. If that's where you're having, first of all, two things. Watch that webinar so you get better at understanding the business that you're in. That's how I've gotten so good at what I've done, is because I just became a really good student, but not just stayed a student. I was ready to change and transform and keep growing and not just be a student. I wasn't just needing to absorb the information. I took the information, then applied it. I took the information of like, I know how to speak of what a coach does, so I better go ask people to coach, right? I'm not asking for a favor. I'm not asking for like, this weird thing. I was talking to Caitlin, and she was saying like, no, I don't feel bad about asking people this in our one-on-one. Do you remember that, sister? I asked you that. I was like, do you feel like you're doing people a favor by asking? You're like, no. I think what I'm doing is giving them a gift. But in order to feel that way, we have to practice on sharing that. So I became a teacher, and then I would implement it, right? So I would watch that webinar, and then I would use that webinar. Let that webinar be your invite to coaching. It's not even really the invite to coaching because you already did it. Let that be the amount of information they need from you in order to join you. So on Instagram, I have been talking, my question to you, the theme of tonight is it clear you're running a business? Are you just running accountability? Are you just running an inspirational page? Is it clear that you're running a business? My business started the day I signed up. Your business started the day you signed up. A business is not successful determined by the amount of money you make, the amount of people on your team. It is a mindset. It's a heart set. I own a business. We all paid, well, first of all, I paid the $39.95 because I didn't know I could get that waived with the challenge pack. But either way, right? You paid for a business. Did you know that $39.95 that you get waived is your business license and your website fee together? Did you know that? That's where the $39.95 comes from. That's your website fee for that month. And then it is your business license. Here's the deal. You don't have to file taxes until after you've made $600. I started running my business as soon as I became a coach because I started walking the walk, tracking it on social media, but not just tracking it to pump people up, to make them feel good, to make them feel inspired, to get them educated. It was also, hey, you can come do this with me. Come do this with me, right? And that's how I started this, at working this as a business. So is it clear that you're running a business? Let that webinar be that thing. I said back to Instagram 3 times. I hope someone caught that. So on Instagram last week, I was talking about this webinar. And I was talking about coaching because I'm not afraid of it. I get it. People are weird about MLMs. Y'all, if people are weird about it, they don't know about it. So then get them to know about it. And I'm going to help you with that. People think things are a pyramid scheme. Those are people who have never actually done this, or they never actually tried, or they quit. Those are the people who are going to mock it. Those are not your tribe. So you just keep on going. If those are your biggest fears with owning a business, is it clear you're running a business? If you're not clear about it, why? What are you so afraid of? You don't want to get shit from your family? But how does that help you in any way? What benefit is it to you to keep this quiet? Ask yourself that. Don't just listen to me say that. What benefit is it to you that you keep this quiet? because you're not just this like inadequate person that can't do it. It's a story you tell yourself is the reason you can or can't do it, right? So on Instagram, that's my 4th time saying this, I've been posting about the webinar. And someone reached out to me and she said, can I have the recording? Because I not only posted we had a webinar, by the way, it's super old school. That's the way we used to do it when I first started. Some of you on here might remember that. Morgan, Kim. And by the way, I built my diamond business using a webinar Trina Gray made. That is how I got to become a diamond coach, because I wasn't fully sure on how to talk about coaching and articulate it in the way that someone would need it. I would either give them way too many objections, talk too much, or not really hit on what I needed to hit on. So Trina had this webinar. It was 45 minutes, and that is how I built a diamond business. I used that webinar. And then I stopped using that webinar, and then I was able to do it. Trina made this webinar last week. It is so good. Why wouldn't you use it? Right? Why would you not use it? So I sent her this webinar because I've been posting about the webinar, and I said, oh, by the way, if some of you want the recording, like if actually I don't say some of you, I try to speak to my Instagram like I'm speaking to one person. Hey, sister, if you want the recording, let me know. So when I'm speaking on my Instagram, hey, friend, hey, sister, when I'm actually recording myself, or if you see me type in a text and put it on my Instagram, I try to speak to one person and not make it seem like, I feel like people feel more significant when I say the words you, say friend, say sister, right? That's the best practice that I have with my Instagram. So I said, hey, friend, if you want the recording, let me know. Well, this girl, she messaged me and she said, I would love the recording. And I said, this is all I said. I said, awesome. Here is the recording. If you hear a dinosaur-like noise in my place right now, that would be Wyatt. Anyway, Eric is wrestling with him right now. So he just goes, I'm sorry. And then like stops. Wyatt didn't say sorry. Eric said sorry. So all I said was, hey, watch this. Check this webinar out. I haven't heard from her. I think I sent her this on Thursday. So I messaged her and I said, hey, sister, just wanted to follow up and see if you caught that webinar. As I sent her the recording. By the way, the recording is everywhere in Happy&Fit. Everywhere. It's on YouTube. Fun fact, fun best practice, most resourceful thing I can tell you. I subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels of Trina Gray. So every time she uploads a video, I get an email. Julie Boris, every time she uploads a video, I get an email. I follow specific coaches that I identify with. And those are some. Christina Delgado is another one. Shred Nation is another one. Crush Nation is another one, right? This is what she said back to me. She said, it was so interesting and I learned a lot and it definitely got my mind spinning. That was her response. Do you know what I'm going to say back to her? I'm going to say, girl, so pumped you watched it. It actually took me a couple months to say yes to this. I am going to identify with her like she's sitting on it for a second. How many of you needed to sit on it? I didn't have objections. I didn't say no. I had to sit on it. A seed was planted. I thought about it from February to May. I sat on it. And then I was like, I'm going to do it because I'm the type of person when I make a commitment, I make a commitment. I knew I could be good at this. Not right off the bat necessarily, but I knew that I could go somewhere in this. And so that's what I'm going to say back to her, if that makes sense. Erica said, that's the webinar that helped me be ready to sign up. The old webinar, like it was like an old school webinar, like PowerPoint thing. It was so crazy. Yes, and that is what I used, but that's what I taught people to use, Erica. Isn't that so cool? Elena used that. So give yourself time to think. When someone says, because this is the thing that's going to catch you off guard, and maybe this is why you're keeping it secret. Do you ever like go somewhere where there's mutual friends or family and you forget that those people follow you on social media? Like totally out of your radar because you're just like posting on social media. Then all of a sudden they'll be like, I see your fitness pictures. And they're like, what do you do? Ghost face, get me out of here. I have no idea what to say. Everything I'm about to say is going to be so awkward. And you'd like try to dodge it. You're like, oh, like, I just needed some workouts and I've just been working on my nutrition, and you try to change the subject because you're so awkward about it. Am I right? Like, have you been there? That was like me, like, for a couple years of my business. I never knew how to answer people. So now, two things. By the way, let's just do a little trivia question in here. How much do you think my hair costs tonight? Like, like, I'll throw this out there. I got half highlights, a cut, wash, like a softening thing, and then my eyebrows done. Keep them coming. 200, 250. Keep them coming. That's it. We have two people. 175, 250, because we care about this. $550. So I didn't know this. So I was like about to check out, and I see it, and I was like, well, it was $440, but I'm an excellent tipper. I think Beachbody, like, I've always been I love tipping. If there's like one reason to make money in this, it's like to bless other people. Like, that's how like I feel about it. And I'm like, abundance. There's massive abundance. Can you write that down? Like, massive abundance. I'm not going to play small. There's massive abundance. Like, think of it in all these different ways. Abundance amount of people, abundance amount of success, abundance amount of debt free, abundance amount of getting fit. Like, there is no scarcity. There is no scarcity in this. So legitimately, I've never paid that much to get my hair done. And to my surprise, I was like, oh my gosh. But this is my point into that. When I handed my card over, I knew it wasn't going to bounce. I knew it was perfectly fine to not just give her a 20% tip, but a 25% tip, and schedule an appointment in the future. I loved her. She was amazing. She owned it. She's an entrepreneur. It's a small business. I really enjoyed, I'm there for a long time, if you can like only imagine, at least minimum of 4 hours. So here I was in the chair. There's a point to this. When someone asks what you do. So I was like, oh, I used to be a teacher, and because her son is 10. I was like, I used to be a 4th grade teacher. And she's like, oh, you're not a teacher anymore? What do you do? The old Julianne, I don't know what I do. I'm not even really sure. I just like share my story on social media and like blah, 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 blah. I think someone would be like, you don't know what you do? You know what I mean? So as I was talking to her, I was telling her, I was like, oh, like I started a business 5 years ago with health and wellness with Beachbody. Have you ever heard of it? That is what I said. I hope you're taking notes because you need to get good at this. But word it. Yeah, Caitlin girl, like, yes. But the thing is like, word it in your way. Write down what I say, but fix it to you. I just said, oh, have you ever heard of it? She's like, no, I haven't. Can you tell me more? I was like, well, have you ever heard of like direct selling or MLM? And she's like, yes, like, can you tell me more about that? And I said, so she was coloring my hair at this point. I said, and you know how in salons, they have all the product wall. Do you know what I'm talking about? So they have the whole product wall. Guess what? None of those salons make those products. Am I right? They partner with companies. Well, there was Diva Curl there. There was a million others I cannot name because I did not look at them, but there was lots. And they were all there for all different hair types because they invest in this company, and this company, right, they like purchase these products and resell them. That's MLM. And I said, but the thing is, and I told her, I was like, so for example, you're coloring my hair right now. You didn't have to think of the chemical formula to put together this color. All you had to do was purchase this and then use it, and it was already done for you. And she's like, yes, that makes sense. And I was like, that's our workouts and that's our nutrition system. Someone already formulated it, and it's almost like I have my own salon, but instead it's my virtual studio, right? It's my area where I use products from Beachbody, but what I do in my studio is what differentiates me, just like what you're doing here, people by people. And I said, and then imagine this. All of the people you hire, imagine if it's not just me you get paid from, it's all of your workers that you have, that you get the whole stores. Like you get do you guys see Wyatt? He just got a bath, so he's like, go, get out of here. Get out of here. you get a portion of the entire sale of the salon for that day or that week. That is Beachbody. The thing is no one's checks change. It's not dependent upon, like, if Lisa, Caitlin, Rebecca, Holly made this, and then it's like, I'm going to take like 10% of Caitlin's check, 50% of Rebecca's check. It doesn't work like that. Everybody gets the same amount. Everybody gets 25% commission. Everyone gets, if 300 total dollars are made in the store that day, Beachbody's going to say, hey, Julianne, for every $300 as a diamond and above coach, you're going to get $18. You guys, my haircut alone was $550. If everyone would have been working in that salon that day, everyone would have gotten $18 on top of the commission of who they helped that day. And she was like, that makes so much sense. And then when I was saying that to her, usually I don't talk about the compensation plan when I'm with people, but now it's been so much fun for me. Now it's all I want to talk about. But I was like, all the other compensation plans in the world are crappy compared to this one, because everyone just gets to sign a contract. The pro and con to that is this, is that when we don't sign a contract with this, it's not guaranteed. And you have to work for it. But the thing is you can outdo yourself every week, every year, and it can keep on multiplying. And mine has, and I'm not the only one. And it's not favored to me. It's favored to anyone who works hard. Luck works like that, right? When you work really, really hard, you get luckier. I'm being sarcastic, but you know how I'm saying. And we will see her on our team. Oh my gosh, she's so cool. I hope so. It was great. And I just think, like, I just told her, I said, there's other MLMs out there that I don't know if the people really believe in their products. Like, obviously the products you have in your salon, you really believe in. That's how I feel about with what I do. Because the products that I have to help people with, like on the shelf, like, think of that. I bet she uses the products in her salon just as much as you use the products in your studio, right? But the best part is that regardless of anyone joining you or not, you're still going to use those products. And that's what makes us different, because I'm not quite sure if other MLMs, one, are fully understanding. Here's the easy way to explain Shakeology. I've been sharing this a lot lately. People are like, oh, it's expensive. Compared to what though? Because it's not just a meal replacement, it's my snack. Some of us, it's our snack. 130 calories is not a meal. But if you add spinach to it and add a bunch of other stuff to it and you make it meatier, okay, it can be a meal. But for me, it's a snack right now because I'm not adding a whole lot to it, right? But I get 30 snacks delivered to me each month. But every snack has 70 plus ingredients in it. And none of the ingredients are bad for me. Think about that. Do you think other people in MLMs, one, even would know that about their product? Do they really feel that convicted of them? There's something that we have here that is just so beautiful, and it's so real, and it takes work. And so I just feel like the best thing we offer, though, is this team. The best thing we offer is linking arms together, going to live events, supporting each other in life. Challenge groups are great, but I don't want to be a coach of a challenge group. I want to be a leader of a team. I want to be a leader of a crusade. I want to be a leader of people who are leveling up in life, that are having more of a yes life, more choices, that are bringing this freedom to other people, that are paying down debt, that are giving their children a childhood they always dreamed of. Julie Voris said, my kids, all they cared about was, are we going on our family trip to Disney? And can you pick me up after school? She didn't need to be at every practice because she had to build this dream. And she's like, they weren't mad at me for missing some things in order to sacrifice to get to live the way that we live now. Plus, none of them are complaining because all of their colleges are paid for. Thank you, Beachbody, is what she said. How amazing is that? It is so good. Facts tell, stories sell. I told Kim, who was doing my hair today, I said, Kim, by the way, where she worked, there were like 6 other salons in the area. And I said, It's the people. People buy people. You can get your hair cut anywhere, but people want to work with certain people. And that's another lesson. That salon is successful, but I'm sure your salon is successful. And there's salons all across the world that are successful. It's not just one that can be and has to be successful. And can you take that into your own story of Beachbody? That I can be just as successful as someone else's who's successful in this. Gold's Gym, successful. Trina's Gym, super successful. It doesn't play favorites. It's just based on people. People love people. People who care about people want to work with those type of people, right? And if you're saying this isn't working, Danny Detra would say, you're not working. You're not. None of us are immune to rejection, ghosting, unfriending, coach cancellations, ... None of us are immune to that. But the difference is what you do with it. Some of us sit on people who are waiting for someday. I made this quote today. Someday is not a day of the week. And if people are going to say someday, why are you investing all your energy in them? When you invite the same person every single week, you're doing a disadvantage to yourself. If you want this, you're going to have to get uncomfortable and you're going to have to go out there, but you won't die. Surprise, you won't die. Like, it's going to be great. You're going to go do it, and then, yeah, you might have more ghosting. I don't know, but you're going to find really kick-ass people. Here's the deal. If I would have stopped at a rejection, a ghost, or a no, which many of you did to me on this call, we wouldn't be on this call. Can you let that sink in? What if Trina would have stopped because she got 3 of her siblings canceling in 1 week when she first started as a coach? Siblings. 3 of her siblings quit all in 1 week of each other. If she would not have had the persistence and faith and belief to keep on going, none of us would be on this call right now. So what makes you immune to the heartache, the hurt, the scariness, the fear? You're not. We've all felt that. But what's the difference to the coach who's done what you wish to do, but you think you can't do? Or something's just not playing in your favor. You just can't figure it out. I'm just stuck. That's the story you're telling yourself. And that's the story that you're going to keep living unless you just decide, is it clear that I'm running a business? Are you owning that in your stories and social media? I'm going to have to say, I follow a lot of you, and I'm really impressed. Like, I love seeing your transformations, but I also know, and this is a big piece of my heart, is that I don't want this just to transform your body. That's not why I'm on this call. I want this to transform every area of your life. But honestly, if I were to go to a lot of your platforms, I wouldn't know that you have a business. I wouldn't know that I could join you. And I wouldn't know what you were about. Because for some reason you're playing small and you're playing quiet. Why? Ask yourself, why? What benefit to me is it quiet that I have this business? Because of someone maybe saying something or who has said something. But again, why do you think you're the only person that's been through that? I've had that. It's actually silenced a lot because of the way I speak, the way I own it, and the way I am confident, and the way that if someone says something, I'm probably going to post about it. So they just stop. And then I always ask myself, Julianne, would you want to trade lives with that person? Because I love people who take ownership and that are inspiring and that are going somewhere and that are building something. Because at the end of the day, I would rather have my family look at me and be like, she built that from the ground up. She followed her dreams. She worked hard. She wasn't an overwhelmed, burnt out mom. She was a mom who gave us everything that we could ever possibly want, but more than anything, she gave us drive and work ethic and health. There's no downside to health. There is no downside to building this business in the best way possible. I swear to you, over the rejections, the ghosting, the like times of patience, it is way better. There's no downside to just keep going and taking action, especially when you get that momentum. There's a story I shared on Mother's Day, and I don't know if you caught it, but when I look back at my childhood, I see a hardworking mom. I went to before school care, I went to school, I went to after school care, and I had activities. She couldn't come to a lot of my activities, and she was going to grad school at night. I never saw her overworked, burnt out, complaining. I never saw her like, she always put herself together every day. I always saw her like loving me, and I saw her making an effort, and I never saw her like hating. And even though like electricity wasn't turning on sometimes, or we didn't know how we were going to pay for groceries sometimes, like I never saw this like whatever is going on in the team of like, I'm just so overwhelmed. I'm just so like burning from all ends and like whatever. I just never saw her like that, because she just always took action. And I have to tell you guys, my work ethic comes from looking at how fucking badass my mom was. And if there's anything I want in life, I want my children to be like, Mom just went for it and was still there and provided these opportunities for us and loved us massively and whatever. But like, there's more to this thing than just money. Like, it's also influencing your family and the generations. I'm a chain breaker. My kids won't know not having electricity, but if they did, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because I'm proof of that. Like my kids won't know balance or bounce checks because I'm a chain breaker, but if they did, it even wouldn't be the worst thing to happen to them. I'm proof of that. That taught me resilience and grit. And I don't think you have to have a story like that in order to have the drive I have. But I do think you need to have something, some kind of why. And sometimes we just believe someone like us couldn't do something like that because it's conventional. Did you know that risk taking is like the opposite of, oh wait, my friend sent this. I had to look up the word because I didn't know what the word meant, but it's so good. She said this: risk is the tariff of predictable misery. Basically, risk is the opposite. It's like the counter offer, right? Like, you taking risks and doing things helps you not have predictable misery, predictable this. And I think it's so cozy to go for comfort, but I don't know if people can really truly live fully there. And again, I think we have to align with what this means. Working hard doesn't have to be overwhelming. I think Julie Voris said, that's a term we've coined and put on that. And she said, it's not, you're just busy. But be busy in all the right areas. Good at saying no. And then, is it clear you're running a business? Be efficient with your time. I was listening to Stephen Furtick from Elevation Church. If you do not listen to him, he's wonderful and funny and like just great. And so not only do I listen to his messages, I also listen to his interviews. I love listening to people who interview people because I learn from the interviewer and the interviewee. Like, just like Ed Milet, I don't just listen for the content. I also listen to see how Ed Milet mentors. Much of the time when I'm listening to Trina, I know what she's saying. This business is simple, my friends. Just walk the walk, share your journey, and invite people to join you. That's literally this whole business. So however you're overcomplicating it, you are. Like, that's how simple it is, right? But I listen to how Trina speaks. I learn from her in that way. And Stephen Furtick said, when he's talking about the creative process, if you've ever heard of Elevation Worship, he's a big person behind the songwriting for those songs. And it's like the most well-known church in the world. And he said that, you know, a lot of my ideas are really, really bad, but I'm not mad about it because I always know my ideas, my one idea leads to a catalyst of other ideas. He says, I have to project one idea and I know I'm not staying there. And I think sometimes we think like we have this one idea in this business, this one challenge group that we think is going to be amazing. And it was like the biggest flop in the world. That's where a lot of coaches stop. Or, oh yeah, I have my coaches to go diamond, and then they stop working the business. They don't add coaches. I don't know why we've gotten so like against that. It's the greatest thing ever. Why are you on this freaking call, right? It's not a yucky thing, you guys, especially when you mean well. And then they're like, I have it. Like, this is going to help us like go to diamond or 1-star or whatever. And then you just stop. Like, that is essentially coming up with one idea and then just sticking to that one idea. He's saying, no, my creative process, it's that one idea that leads me to my best idea. And I was like, ooh, that's good. Like, you doing like that one group is going to make you run better groups, like especially if it's terrible. I've had many calls where people have messaged me and they're like, that was horrible. Like, you can't say those kinds of things. They're like, or I didn't feel good about it. And I was like, at least I did it. At least I challenged that person. I could have maybe handled it different and said things a little bit different, but at least I had the courage to do it. Now I can get better. Right? So maybe your goal of going diamond, if that was your one idea, what the hell are you doing now? That should be your catalyst for like freaking crushing it and going somewhere, instead of thinking like small. I don't know. And it's not diamond that makes you, and it's not the money that makes you. It's just this journey that makes you in the greatest way possible. One thing I heard on a call, I'm obsessed with YouTube. I listen to it all day long. And this hit me. And I posted this in Happy and Fit, and I made some documents on this. And I was like, what the heck, Julianne? Like, people don't relate to $11,000 a month. Like they don't relate to that. Like, that doesn't mean anything. But when I said to you guys that my haircut cost me $550, did that mean something? That I could just hand over my card? And by the way, that's all Beachbody. Isn't that something more? Or like, I was asking other people, like, what did this mean? And some of you said Beachbody on Demand. I don't have to pay for my Shakeology or Beachbody on Demand. Who gets to get their gym membership covered for a year? Like, do you know anybody who goes to Gold's and like they pay their gym membership, but then can like earn it back? Those must be some kick-ass rewards. Like, what else they got? Like, sign me up for that gym. It doesn't happen. Maybe a couple referrals, right? And isn't that kind of what we're in? Or like some of you getting your Shakeology covered. Who gets 30 meals / snacks with 70 ingredients of each of those, like, paid back? People relate to experiences and not dollar amounts. So for example, flying to Chicago next month and then Milwaukee, that's because of my Beachbody business. That's going to be more relatable to someone than me just being like, oh, I've made this much money. When you say that you can fill up your gas tank every week, do you know what that would do to someone like that's watching you? Or a cup of coffee? How many of you, I remember a coach on here, I won't say the name, but I thought it was so cool. She said, I used to be so full of scarcity. And lately I've been she told me she paid for a friend's dinner and didn't even think twice of it. She knows abundance is there. And that was because of Beachbody. And I think it was like $48 or something. And I'm like, how many people would love to treat their friends to a dinner, but can't right now? Or someone else told me that they get to do guilt-free massages once a month because of Beachbody. Someone told me that their kids' taekwondo class is covered because of Beachbody. People relate to experiences. So my encouragement to you as you're building your business, because my question to you is it clear you're building a business? What experiences has Beachbody helped with? And it doesn't have to be all financial. It could be you going to the dressing room and you not hating yourself anymore. I had a story like that where I was trying on swimsuits and I was dancing and shaking my butt in the thing, and people were probably like, what is going on in there? But I just felt so confident for the first time in a bathing suit in a dressing room, because you guys know that Target is messed up with the bright lights that they have going on in there. They need to tone those down just a little bit, right? But people relate to experiences. Or I was thinking about when I was talking to Caitlin, when we were talking, and I was like, you're so smiley. Like when I first met you, you were so quiet at these events. I just feel like you've gained confidence because of this. And she said, yes. And like, she has like a BFF Cody now, which is so cool. They run together. And I was just thinking like, that's an experience people can relate to. Like, how many of you are introverts and now like you can go, Summit gave me so much anxiety when I first got there. By the way, that Summit is the thing that changed my life. So I had to get past all the people and the crowds because it's overwhelming. But I was so proud of myself for still being in there and taking notes. And that was the thing where I was like, I can do this. Why not me? All these people speaking on stage are saying the same things I believe and I know about this. I just have to make this decision. And so that could be an experience. I talk about how like going to a big group of crowded people used to really scare me. But now like going to those, it helps me. How many people choose and can't go to those kinds of things? How many people would love just like a girls trip or hanging out? Our Milwaukee meetup. Like people don't have that. I literally saw on Facebook once, like, by the way, in the Bay Area, there's an app called Rent My Friend for a Day. You can legitimately rent a friend for a day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really cool, but like really weird and like great all at the same time, you know? It's like, that's a good idea. But I saw on Facebook, someone's like, well, someone just like, I have no one to hang out with. Or like talk to, like, will someone be my friend is pretty much what she said. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I have this tribe. And you may not know everybody yet, but that's on you. I'm going to throw that out there. There's many times I've gotten messages saying like, I just don't feel like I jive with everybody. And I'm like, oh, when was the last time you posted on the team page and tried to get to know people on friend requests? They're like, never. And then I'm like, you should probably make an effort because we can't just look to receive. We have to look to give. And once you give, there's abundance in giving. You can't just expect to not feel awkward. You can't just expect for this to be easy. You can't just expect this to be a confidence thing. You can't just expect to know it all. You can't expect to have easy conversations. You can't expect, right? Like you have to put some kind of effort out there. Like you have to get rejections in order to get really good at handling them. Like you have to get really good at sharing your story on social media. And by the way, it's going to take a couple tries. It's going to take, and then you're focused on, I got 6 likes. Well, so what? All I'm seeing is that you checked in for the day and who else got off the bandwagon today? Not you. You're reliant. You're consistent. But then people stop posting because they get 12 likes. Why are you paying attention to that? When did our confidence become about how many followers and likes and comments we get? How about we just get confident in the journey and sharing it and being bold about it and then just showing up every freaking day because that sets you apart. But instead, the reason we stop, the reason we give up is because we get a little coach cancellation. I got 3 in one day once too. I survived it. It didn't kill me. It didn't crush me. It stung. And then I was like, how can I get better? We just have to get good and better at asking ourselves questions. Not why does this always happen? Or what did I do wrong? It's just like, how can I get better? Maybe I overwhelmed them. Okay. Just don't do that next time. And not everybody's going to be your jam. I've changed a lot over the years. People have told me, I've had people worried about me because I've transformed so much. They're afraid of it. Well, sister, you can be afraid of it, but I'm not going to stop. I can't stop because someone's intimidated by that. I'm going to show up. And then another thing. Okay, don't you think it's weird if you were to go to buy a car, which we all love doing, and a person is helping you with the car? This is where this came about, is I was driving with Eric and we were passing some car dealerships. And there was like a whole row of cars. And I was like, oh, that must be the employees' cars because they were like right out at front. And I was like, isn't it weird that none of them drive a Honda and they're working for Honda? And then you pass like another dealership and you're like, isn't it weird that like none of them are driving a Jeep and they work at Jeep? Can you not be that person? can you be the person who works at Honda who drives the Honda? And so what I mean by that is like, I get it. Maybe your first couple of shakes aren't good. My first 3 weren't either, but one, when you know what's in it, you make it happen anyway. But one, it shouldn't be two, it shouldn't be tasting that bad. You're just making it wrong. But like, there are so many coaches who go inactive and aren't drinking Shakeology because they're saying it's so expensive. Think better. Okay, instead of thinking my only option is to cancel, how about we think better? How can I help 3 people so I don't have to worry about that cost? Instead of just like, oh, Summit's coming up, I have to cancel my ticket and sell it because I can't afford it. Summit's in a couple months away. Why are you making such a rational decision? But can you just be the person who works at Honda and who has the Honda? So like, you're walking the walk. The only way you're going to build this is if you're walking the walk. And that's my point to that, of like, yes, like, you need to like, it doesn't, by the way, I'm not on every product and things like that. I'm on 3 main ones, okay? Performance Line, Shakeology, and Beachbody On Demand. The bars are amazing. I live by them. I love Energize, like seriously the greatest thing ever. I love the Refresh. Like, there's things I love, but there's 3 things I'm behind. And the 3 things I'm massively behind are BOD, Shakeology, and the Performance Line. I think 2B Mindset is great, and I think 21 Ultimate Portion Fix is great. I love the containers. But the top 3 I'm behind, top 3, did you guys say that? Top 3. That's 4, Julianne. Those are the things I'm behind the most. And then my last thing, post about having a business. Is it clear you're running a business? And talk about that. Your income is built on influence. And so when you can just own that you have a business, you do. I don't know why you think you're less significant because you're not making $1,000 a week. Like, why does that make you less significant in this? It doesn't. Like, you're allowing yourself to let it, if that makes sense. It's not based on that. You guys, there are some people who are quote unquote, like, people are bowing down to in Beachbody, and they're not very kind in real life. I've met a lot of them. They're not very kind. But then there are some really kind ones. It's just like, it's just dependent upon whoever decides to be successful. But can you just not base your success on superficial things? However, hitting Success Club and going Emerald is me teaching you how to maximize this business plan. Like, if you really want to build a business, you need to hit Success Club and you need to add coaches. And why on earth would you just build a business that's based on who you only talk to? Why wouldn't you tap into a compensation plan that it's whatever the whole store does? So for every $300 your organization makes in Beachbody, you're either going to get it saved in a bank for you, or you're going to tap into it each week. That's what carryover is. If you can't bank into it yet, it's sitting there for you to bank into later. Well, you're not going to bank into it if you're not helping people get started, right? Anyway, I hope that this spoke to you tonight. That was literally the most random best practices through this week, but it was just that I was learning so much, and it's not things that I just learn and don't do things about. I've had to ask my own self, do people know I'm running a business? People know I'm running a fitness lifestyle. People know that I'm about nutrition, and people know that I'm about community. But do people know that I'm a mentor? You can be a mentor. You just have to decide to be one. Either find the way or make the way. Either find the table or build the table. Just decide that you're made for this and trust that you'll figure it out. I had no idea when Lauren Lundberg, she was like my first like active working coach. I was a brand new Emerald, by the way, but she had no idea. Danny Detra told me this story, and I'll end on this. And some of you were on that call. She said that Bonnie Engel, who is a top coach, like Million Club, has been in the top 10, like all this stuff, was inviting this girl, and Bonnie Engel's like hit 15 star, like all these things, like retired, her and her husband, all this stuff. And the girl's like, I'm signing up with an Emerald coach. And Bonnie was like, I need to find out who this badass B is. This is amazing. Like this other, like when she was inviting this person, she's like, no, like I'm joining this coach. And Bonnie was like, I need to know her. Like her confidence and obviously she's building a business and that's the person she wants to go with. That is amazing. It has nothing to do with title. It has nothing to do with tenure. It has everything to do with direction, where you're going, and how you make people feel. And friend, you have this incredible ability to make people feel like somebody. And I hope that you feel like somebody on this call and on this team. And the only way to really maximize that is to put effort into it. Because why not you? And that's the question I asked myself when I first started. I'm going to hit end.